You're listening to A Tiny Homestead, the podcast comprised entirely of conversations with homesteaders, cottage food producers, and crafters. I'm your host, Mary Lewis. This episode is sponsored by Greenbush Twins Company, where creativity and community grow hand in hand. Just like a thriving garden or a well-loved homestead, the best things are built with care, purpose, and heart. Through thoughtful design, storytelling, and handcrafted goods, they're helping people celebrate a simpler, more meaningful way of living. Learn more at Greenbush Twins Company. Today I'm talking with Sheila at Backland Acres in Belle Plaine, Minnesota. Good afternoon, Sheila. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. We're having a hot one again today.
Right.
I'm a little tired of it. Are you?
Yeah. Yeah, the plants love it though, so I can't complain because everything in the field is just doing amazing.
Well, I guess the good news is that at least we've been getting rain along with the heat.
Exactly.
If we were just getting the heat, we would be in trouble. If we were
It's
just getting,
definitely a bigger problem in when we had the early heat, I think was it in May or June? It
yeah.
was so dry and it was just heat, and so we had trouble with like our spring crops bolting early.
Yeah, our asparagus went to seed super fast this year. I was very
Right.
sad
Yeah.
about this. Um,
Yeah.
we planted asparagus 5 springs ago now, and this was the year we were going to be able to have a bunch to sell at the farmer's market, right? No,
Oh
because
no.
it all bolted so fast that we couldn't keep up.
So I have a question about your asparagus. So you planted it 5 years ago and you can just start harvesting now, or you're just saying it multiplied enough where you had enough to sell?
We got enough to have a mess, as my mom would call it, two
Okay.
2 springs ago. And then last year we
Got
had
it.
enough to have some to eat and some to sell on our farm stand. This was the year where we thought there was gonna be enough to actually sell it at the farmer's market. So we thought that it would have been long enough that it would have multiplied enough
Right.
to sell
Right.
it. But
Okay.
no, because it was so hot, it just went poof. Because it's a
Yeah.
grass. Asparagus is a grass.
Oh, I didn't know that. We are on year 2 of our asparagus and it was ready really early. Now, I know you're not supposed to harvest it the first year,
Right.
but we bought like we have a whole field of it, I'll just say. And the company we got it from said we could harvest it for a week the first year.
Mhm.
And then the second year it's 3 weeks. So anyways, yeah, I was ready in April though, which was really weird.
We're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but we're on asparagus. I'm gonna ask this, and then I'm gonna ask you to tell me about yourself. Was your
Okay.
asparagus super sweet this year? Because ours was.
It was delicious.
Yeah.
But then we had a freeze and I had no idea that it all will freeze and die.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yep.
if you're only allowed to harvest it that first week, everything that was above ground froze. And so if I would have known that, I would have taken, like, I probably would have had there was a lot that I could have brought in and pickled or done something with, but I guess I didn't know.
Live and learn, right?
Right. Yep.
Yeah, that's all this farming and homesteading and ranching is living and learning every freaking season.
For sure.
It's fun and it's frustrating. So anyway, please tell me a little bit about yourself and about Backland Acres.
Okay, so I grew up, me and my husband actually grew up in Eden Prairie
Okay.
and had never planted anything. So we, got married out of high school, lived in Chakapea, had never planted anything in my life, and my son came home with like a styrofoam cup with a little plant from, that you do in kindergarten. They plant the seed in the styrofoam cup and bring it home. So he brought that home and we planted it next to our house in Chock-A-Pee, just dug a hole, had no idea what I was doing, just dug a hole and planted it, and it turned into this big plant and gave us summer squash. It was crooked neck summer squash.
Nice.
And yeah, and I just became really infatuated or yeah, just really, really excited. So I went to the store and I bought a bunch of seeds and I had no idea what I was doing, like literally nothing. I don't even know if I had a smartphone then. Like I didn't know how to look anything up. Like I didn't look anything up. I didn't read anything. I just started dumping seeds in the ground. So but I dumped like a whole packet in the ground. So I would dig a hole and dump like a whole packet of bean seeds in the ground or
You
onion
got
seeds or
you,
whatever.
you got the bug.
Yeah, I did. And it was really fun. And we had some things, obviously, we had weeds and everything, and I had no idea what I was doing. But yeah, so from there, we had some friends who wanted to purchase a farm and start like an organic meat farm. And so we were good candidates for that. So they wanted to purchase it and start this business, and they wanted somebody else to live on the property and run the business. So we agreed to do that, and I just started planting more and more. I don't know how much you want me to tell, but I started planting more and more um, when we came out here and learned a little bit more about what I was doing, that I needed to weed, that I needed to space the plants apart and start some seeds ahead of time.
And this was 12 years ago?
Yes,
Wow.
yes, this was 12 years ago, right?
I'm impressed. You caught the bug knowing nothing and you have turned it into a business in 12 years.
Right, yes, exactly. And so when we first moved here, we started with a lot of animals because they were really interested in the animals. So we raised like 1,000 chickens a year. We had pigs, we had cows, that we had like put up all this fencing to have cows on our land. It was someone else's cows, but we were just, we had 15 acres. So, it was either hay it or have animals on it. So we were learning like how to move cows around and how to move chickens behind them. And we had some sheep at one point. We had goats. Like we tried everything. But the thing that we did for our business first off was the chickens and the pigs.
Mhm.
So that's more of what we were focused on. But I slowly just started growing vegetables. Well, actually, not slowly. Like before I even moved in here, we rented a tiller and for some reason I thought I had to bring the sod up. So I got a sod cutter and we planted a whole bunch of stuff. But just again, still had no idea what I was doing. Didn't have a greenhouse, didn't, had all this stuff in my basement. And was doing a lot of throwing, like digging a hole and still throwing seeds in the ground. But yeah, so over the course of 10 years or 12 years, I guess, we have transitioned to doing less animals and more. Now we plant 5 acres of vegetables and flowers, and we have tractors and a greenhouse and high tunnels and
Of all the things.
yes. Yeah.
You also have a model for your CSA that I read about on your website that I think is super cool. People can come and work at the farm
Yes. Yes.
and,
So this
and
is, yeah,
get a CSA share, right?
correct. Yep. And this is how that started. So I really started selling vegetables, so we were still doing a lot of animals. I think in one year I raised like 3,000 chickens because I was raising for somebody else as well. So we were still doing a lot of animals, but I had these gardens that were quite big and they were just for me, and there was no reason to have that much garden space. And it was during COVID, and I had friends. So this was, I think, so yeah, COVID 6 years ago.
Yep.
I had friends coming over because there was nothing else to do with their kids, and the kids were playing, and we were weeding the garden. And I just said, let's all take care of the garden together, and then we can just split the whatever we produce. So that same year, a farmer's market reached out to me because I think they needed vegetable vendors. I can't remember, and asked if we would sell vegetables at their market. And I was like, oh my goodness, I've never even, I don't know what I'm doing at all. Like, I can grow things, but it's very messy process. Like, there's lots of weeds, things are imperfect, so I asked my friends and we said, let's do it. So we all went on it together and just started planting and, taking care of what we already had and started going to the farmer's market together.
So far, I love your story. And I'm going to tell you why. I spend an inordinate amount of time trying to get people to grow something because things are so expensive right now and
Mhm.
seeds are cheap compared to a tomato.
Right.
And
Yes.
I feel like almost everybody can find a bucket and get a scoop full of dirt and grow a tomato plant. I feel like they really can.
I
And
do too. Yep.
and I also feel like you, with your situation, your child brought home a seedling and you were like, let's plant it and see what happens. That's not luck, that's intention.
Mhm.
So you are just solidifying my my constant push to get people interested. You happen to luck into it, but guys, if you have space, grow something.
Right, plant a seed,
Yeah.
and don't be, I mean, and I guess I had to be willing to dig out, I didn't have a perfectly manicured yard or whatever. I dug a hole in the side of my house and I had to be right next to my lily. There was lilies there was other perennials. Um, I had to be willing to just see what happens. I think a lot with this, I think something about my personality that works with farming, I've talked to my husband about this, is that I am not a perfectionist.
Yep.
So, whatever the opposite of a perfectionist is me. And I'm willing to just try things or throw a seed in the ground. I was just doing a lot of throw seeds in the ground and see what happens instead of trying to learn everything there is to know, try to do it perfectly so I can have this perfect looking garden.
You're
Does
an
that
ex-
make sense?
you're an experimenter, that's what you are.
Yes, yes. I wasn't I remember the lady who purchased the farm. I was growing vegetables for her because I was going to provide for both of our families. And she kept asking like these scientific questions. And I was like, Kate, I don't know. And she's like, so you're saying it's more of an art than a science. And I'm like, yes, that's what I'm saying. We're going to see what happens. And every year is different. And there's not like a formula. At least I don't think other farmers might disagree with me, but I don't feel like there's a formula for a perfect um, plant or system or growing season. There's just way too many variables.
Yeah, if there was a system or a science to growing things, everybody would be doing it and people would be a lot better off.
Right. Yeah.
But there isn't. I'm not going to lie, the last 2 summers have been rough here with our farm to market garden because in Lesueur we got rain every day in May and into June, both years.
You have been getting a lot of rain the past 2 years. I've been watching because I'm always watching the radar
Yep.
and it always stops when it gets to me. So we've actually been dry, super dry the past 2 years.
And you're only like half an hour away from me, which is
I
just
know
crazy.
it is crazy. I don't know if it's something to do with the river, but me and my neighbors talk. We're like, it's so weird how it always splits around us. And I am watching Lesueur, Mankato, that area is always just getting like red, on the radar. It's like red after red of
Yeah,
either storms or rain.
luckily this year has been perfect.
Oh, good.
And I'm really afraid to say that out loud because I'm afraid I will jinx it. But we have apples on our apple trees. We have um, tomatoes forming on our tomato plants. We've already picked cucumbers and kohlrabis and zucchini. This year is looking to be, cross everything I have and knock on wood, a good year. But the last 2 summers have just been hellacious because of all the rain.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sorry.
my husband went out well, he wanted to plant last spring on May 15th because that's the day we do it.
Hmm.
And the garden was mud. It was slop. He was like, I can't plant anything because I'm sinking into my ankles if I step into the garden.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's fabulous. So he ended up planting 3 different plantings of tomatoes to get maybe 50 pounds of tomatoes last year.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the timing of everything can be really frustrating. So we have 170 CSA members, and then we have
Wow.
people who shop at our farm store each week. So I don't know. I just feel like probably 200 families, that we're getting vegetables for each week. But so the timing can be very frustrating because we start June 1st. We start sending out vegetables June 1st or the first
Yep.
week of June. So we have to have vegetables ready. And when you can't get the tractor in, or you have plans to, like this year we were in really early, and so I test the water. Like, I do some extreme things. I plant extremely early on some things, where everyone around, people who have gardened forever, they'll stop by the greenhouse and say, Sheila, you're planting too early, and I'm saying it's going to be fine. But things like lettuce, all the brassicas, celery, celeriac, all the cold weather things, I'll plant extremely early, because then we can have them,
Yeah.
the first week of June. But if it's too wet, you can't get tractors in the ground. This year, what happened is we got them in really early, and then there was some really cold weather coming, and it was very scary. Everything survived. I think
Good.
it got down to like 26, and all of my cauliflower, everything survived. So,
You were
yeah.
very lucky.
So that was,
That's awesome.
yeah, an experiment that worked out good.
Yeah, and people who don't do this have no concept of the worry that we all have about
Oh, right. I
what's
think
gonna
about that
happen.
all the time. When people are saying, I'll be in the farm store and customers are coming in saying there's a big storm coming, there's a big storm coming. I'm like, you don't know what that's doing to my anxiety right now. Let's stop talking about the storm. Let's pretend it's not going to happen.
Oh, yeah, we lost an apple tree, uh, 2 Sundays ago? 2 Sundays ago to
Oh,
that storm that came through early on Sunday morning. It snapped right off at the base.
oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Great.
and I'm sad, but I'm not as sad as I would be if it had been a different tree. It was a honeygold variety, and we have 4. We now have 3.
Okay. Okay.
And I don't love honeygold apples, my husband does. And the other 2 trees, 2 of the 3 trees are loaded with apples, so we should have some honeygolds for sale and for my husband to snack on when they come in. But I would have been heartbroken if it had been the one Regent or the one Harrelson that we have.
Right. Right.
So I felt very blessed that if it had to be an apple tree, at least it was one of those.
Yes, honeygold is a good one. Yeah, last year I think it was in June, we had some big winds and I had no idea it was coming. I'm happy I didn't know because I would have been so stressed out. But it happened in the middle of the night and it ripped one of our high tunnels out of the ground.
Oh,
And just to give you an idea, high tunnels, I mean, they're thousands of dollars. They're so expensive. And the time and I had built it myself. We did end up fixing it this year, but it was really, really, so then it ripped, so then whatever was in the tunnel was like exposed to the elements all year, which ended up being completely fine. It was cucumbers.
yep.
But it was pretty darn stressful. So I think the more infrastructure and investment I have in the game, I think I'm realizing the more stress, the more that's on the line, it's just more stress with weather and things happening. It just adds to that stress, the weightiness of, carrying it on your shoulders, I guess.
But would you give it up for anything?
And maybe the high tunnels. The high tunnels are stressing me out.
Yeah.
But no, the rest of it, no, in the field, I don't get too stressed when there's storms. It's more of just those, I mean, I'm trying to think. I think the high tunnels that I just put in were like 15,000 a piece.
Uh-huh.
So it's quite a bit of money. We're talking, you know what I mean? That like if something happens to that,
Yeah.
that's a big loss.
Yeah, and I feel your pain on a smaller scale. We just had a basically like a high tunnel style greenhouse, so maybe a
Hmm.
quarter the size of what you're talking about. And I watched it go over, and
No,
it was loaded with seedlings that all got knocked into the ground, knocked
no.
out of their seed trays.
So
And that was
that is my number one. I don't even want to talk about it, but that is definitely my number one fear is my greenhouse, something happening to that during like March and April.
yeah, This was 3 or 4 springs ago. I watched it go over and I cried.
So
And
what did you do?
well, all the seedlings were big enough to be planted, so we had basically surprise gardens all over our property.
Okay.
And it was really kind of fun because, you know, squash seedlings, they don't necessarily look different from each other. So we didn't know we were planting winter squash or summer squash. So we had a few patches of zucchinis and butternut squashes growing in the same plot.
Oh, that's funny.
Yep. So we rescued as many of the babies as we could, but I never want to see a greenhouse go over again. It was heartbreaking.
Right. So I don't know how to make my greenhouse stronger, but that is definitely my number one fear, like a winter storm, taking it out while it's, still
Mhm.
freezing out and things. I don't know what I would do.
Well, we have a hard-sided greenhouse now that went up 3 Mays ago. The wind is
Okay.
not going to take that one down. It's like a house.
Okay. That's cool.
So, and that was funded by a grant from the Market Entry Fund. So, if you want to come up with the money for a hard-sided greenhouse, I would suggest looking into grants because that way you're not shelling out the money to build one.
Okay. I put a hard side on one side, but it is still like a hoop house.
Yep.
So, anyways.
Yep, it's a lot. So,
Mhm.
so you grow flowers too, right?
Yes. So during this time, so 6 years ago, once I started growing and selling the vegetables, um, I started planting flowers in the I basically just plant any seed that comes my way. So I was planting everything and I was, planting it in the greenhouse and then I had to plant it outside, of course, and I knew nothing about flowers. Never grew a flower in my life. And I became equally just excited and completely obsessed with flowers as I was with growing vegetables. And I think if you like to grow, it's a great way to, get like, get creative, use time being creative. And it's an art form that I think if you already like to be outside and you like to grow things, it's just a great outlet, I guess.
Do you do annuals, perennials, or both?
Both. I am trying to build up my perennial gardens. I was just looking, I was that's why I was just outside looking at the colorful echinacea that I planted last year, and
Mhm.
it's really taken off and really bountiful right now, and it's just gorgeous. My flower gardens this year are outperforming any year, and they're just insanely beautiful. Um, so I need to somehow get like some drone footage or something so that people can get a good idea of what they look like. It's so hard to uh, have pictures do justice.
Yes.
And so I want everyone to come out and experience it. We have pick your own flowers on Fridays and Saturdays during like our on-site market here. And people have really been enjoying it, but I just want to make sure everyone knows it's a possibility. Um, and that we, yeah, have loads of beautiful things here.
Post on Facebook to your friends and see if anybody has a drone you can borrow or if they want to come over and do it for you.
Okay, yeah, I was just talking to my husband and he's like his friend apparently has a whole production company, so
Well, maybe that's your solution.
yes, yes. So I'm like, "Well, get him over." I'm like, "Nick, like ASAP right now because these flowers, they don't we need people picking them now."
Yeah, can you believe it's past July 4th?
I can't. The season goes so fast for me now.
Yeah.
Um I am I think I'm probably over halfway through my growing season because we plant everything again for the fall. I don't know if you do that, but we plant I deliver until the second week of December.
Wow. Okay, no, we don't do that.
Yeah. So we plant everything outside again. So all the cold weather stuff in the fall or the spring things like the cabbages and the lettuces and all of the,
The cold weather
leafy
crops.
greens, yeah, and radishes. I plant all of that again And then I also planted another time in our high tunnels. So in December, we're harvesting out of our high tunnels.
Very nice. That is so cool. Um, Echinacea is also called cornflower or coneflower, right?
Yes, I think people even call it purple coneflower, but there's a variety from Johnny's that is a colorful mix. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Cayenne? Cayenne Spirit?
Well, it sounds beautiful. I haven't seen it. Um, the reason I asked you, geez, I cannot pronounce ASK today for some reason. Um, we got a bunch of coneflower plants 2 years ago, and they just do not do well here. They were
Really?
they were fine, and then nothing came back this year.
Weird. So tell me about your soil. Is it, oh, probably because of the wet?
Maybe,
Did they
maybe.
drown?
I don't know, but our dirt is very it's not sandy, number one, and I know they like sandier dirt, sandier soils. That might have something to do with it.
I'm not sandy at all. I'm thick
No?
clay.
Okay. I don't
The
know. We
year
have
the year they didn't come back for me, so I think 4 years ago I planted them. They didn't come back the next year because it was too wet.
then maybe that's what it is because we put them in three, I don't know, 3 or 4 springs ago. And they did well the first year, and then the next 2 years it was bad. So what I'm discovering is that sometimes the things that you think will do really well in your area
Hmm.
that you're cultivating don't do as well as the wild things.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. For
Because
sure. I
there
mean, right. I
there's
think that's
cornflowers and um, lilacs and wild plum all over the place here in Minnesota. And our
hmm.
wild plum tree does well every year. But lilacs, nope. And coneflowers, nope. And crocuses and daffodils, no.
Yeah, isn't that funny? And then you see it in fields in all these weeds, poking out of weeds and
Yeah.
nobody's taking care of it, but they're just growing like crazy.
Yeah. I'm like, what did we do wrong? What did we screw up? And I don't think it's anything we screwed up. I think that plants grow where they're planted, but they may not grow well if you force it.
Yeah. And they must have just like they found the perfect soil that they needed.
Yeah.
That's what I noticed too, like different weeds coming up. Different weeds will do really well in different years, depending on whatever the soil has that year or how wet it is or um yeah.
It's a crapshoot.
Yes, I really do think so. I really do think so. I've had so many years where I'm like, what was it this year? We had something so amazing, and I was like, there's no reason. Why is that doing so well? I've planted that for years, and for some reason this year it's doing well, and I want to know why. I'm trying to remember what it was. Well, I don't remember, but
Could be
cauliflower. I'm having a really great cauliflower year.
nice. Are you having a really good kohlrabi year? Because we are.
Yes, yes.
Are
Basically
you
everything's doing pretty good for me this year. I'm trying to
good?
think of what's not. Yeah. Here's a weird thing. We've never had this happen, but all of our radishes did terrible. Like they bolted super early and they didn't get very big. Radishes. They're
Yeah,
so
ours same
dependable.
same thing.
Yeah, they're so dependable. Like every year they're just the same for me, except for this year they were not. So,
My husband brought in 4 French breakfast radishes for me,
hmm.
and I always try them before I do anything with them because if they're too hot, I won't be able to eat them. They hurt my mouth.
Hmm.
And I took just a little tiny slice and bit into it, and I was like, "Nope, those are hotter than hell. No."
Yes, and that's what people did say about my radishes too. Wow, they're really hot. So it must have just been that early heat that we had.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I've grown them in the high tunnel. There was nothing that made sense because in the high tunnel they didn't do well either. So,
What I want our listeners, my listeners, whatever, however we're saying that these days, to know is that gardening is is a surprise a minute, and it can be a really good surprise or it can be a bad surprise, but it's worth the effort.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I try to keep these to half an hour, almost there. What I would like to know as a last question is, you have a CSA. Is it still open for members, or are you done with new members for this year?
We are closed for delivery, but we're still open for what I call it our U-Pick CSA. I
Okay.
think I need to change the name to market style CSA because people think that they have to come here and go to the field and pick their vegetables.
Oh,
But
okay, yeah.
it really, you pick just means you come to the farm store each week on Fridays or Saturdays and you pick out which vegetables you want in your bag. So most CSAs, you get a box or a bag of vegetables each week. The farmer picks. They give you, and that's how our delivery system works. We pack bags and we give you what the best thing is out of the field. On Fridays and Saturdays, we set up U-Pick. We set up like a market and we get other local things from other places as well. And you come here and pick whatever you want in your bag for the week.
That's fun.
Yeah,
Where
and then it's been really fun because in addition to that, there's options for you to pick extra things from the field. So like you can get a pint of peas for one of your items, or you can go to the field and get a half gallon of peas if you pick them. So there's really the people that are taking advantage of the pick your own are really making off great. They're going home with like 5 gallon buckets of spinach or kale, and they're going home with a lot of vegetables. So if you're willing to put a little work in, you can really do well here.
Yeah, so where can people find you if they wanna take advantage of your business?
Well, yeah, they can just come to the farm store. We are in Belle Plaine. We're right between Belle Plaine, Jordan, and New Prague. So they can come to the farm store on a Friday or Saturday, and all of the information for this is on our website. But come on to the farm store Friday or Saturday. Friday's 11 to 4, Saturday's 8 to noon, and we can help you get signed up. Otherwise, you can just shop. It's open for non-members as well, just not all of the exact same benefits. But it's open for non-members to just shop like it was exactly like it was a farmer's market.
Okay, and your website is backlandacres.com and your Facebook page is Backland Acres, right?
Right. Yes.
Okay, so that people can go find out and get the address to be able to show up.
Yes. Yep.
Awesome. Uh, this was awesome, and I'm so thrilled that you're doing what you're doing. I wish more people would do it. I don't want them to do it right next door to you because you don't need the competition, but I wish that people in the areas would do this because
No, I
we need
agree.
it.
I agree. I wish more people would do this, even if it's around me, because I think it creates a market for people to people get used to getting their food just locally when it's available more locally.
Mhm.
And so I just think that the more people, the better, really.
Yes, and I keep saying this and I'm going to say it until I die. If you get your food from someone who's grown it locally, it is more nutritionally dense and it's better for you.
Right. So you're getting more for your money.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I tell this to people too, our prices don't like you can't compare our prices to a grocery store because it's just not even the same vegetable.
right.
It's not the same product at all. And some of our things are less expensive than the grocery store, some are more expensive than the grocery. We have to charge what we need to grow the vegetable. But it's not even the same thing, so you can't really compare.
Well, I'll tell you what, the last time I bought a couple stems of rhubarb at a grocery
Mhm.
store years ago, they were super sour and they didn't taste like rhubarb. They just tasted really sour. The
Mhm.
rhubarb that grows in my yard tastes like rhubarb. And when you add a little bit of sugar to it, it's really yummy. Tried adding a little bit of sugar to the stuff from the store and it was still kind of sour, bitter, and gross and stringy and woody. And it was just disgusting.
True.
So
Yeah. Just
I
not even the same thing.
Yeah, I don't want to knock grocery stores. I think that we kind of need them for certain things. But I also feel like we live in a country where we can get food from our neighbors who are growing it because they love to grow it and because they want to share it. So why not support them?
Right. Yes, I agree.
All right. So, as always, people can find me at a tinyhomesteadpodcast.com. Sheila, thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Mary, thank you so much for having me on.
It was really fun. I would like to talk to you again.
I know we should do this again. It was fun.
Cool. Thank you.
Yes, have a good day.
You too.